All right, shalom, and welcome to another Bible study that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in this body of Yahshua. My name is Esaac ben Israel, and I'm the elder priest of the United Congregation of Israel. And I'm joined here with Priest Mikael. Shalom, my brother.
Shalom, Elder.
All right, so we're going to get into a few questions. I think with so much debate going into this presidential election and so many things being said about abortion, there ended up being some questions concerning that, and even a little bit leading into how some were felt as though they were pressured into an abortion. Now, the interesting thing about public acceptance is we don't understand how far it goes. So when we start talking about television programs and what's being displayed on a program, you start mentioning that and people say, well, it's just a television program. But we don't really understand the depth of programming the mind. It's a reason why the person who's in charge of radio is called a program director. His job is to put together a program that brings about the desired cause. And the same goes for television, even further and deeper, because when you get right down to it, television is music plus visual. All right? So you have music, which is just music, and it has a programmed and a desired effect. And then you have a motion picture, which has both of those things in it. So then now you have two elements of a driving force when you're dealing with a motion picture. And we may say that we are just looking at things for entertainment value. But what happens is we are getting either moved toward a direction or moved away from a particular direction based upon what we see. This is why it is good to have some kind of balance, because when you get down to a point of you're seeing the same thing over and over and over and over and over, then that is the only thought process that you're going to entertain, and eventually it will override other thoughts. Case in point, I remember hearing, especially amongst my family, how absolutely wrong marijuana was. Like, apparently it was like the devil, and then weed was under him. The devil was better than marijuana. I mean, it was just, saying the devil reached down under him and grabbed weed. I was like, damn, it wasn't smoking in the fire, But apparently it stayed whole under Satan. Now, years passed, and somehow they have started to flip the public perception concerning marijuana. Now, all of a sudden, it is a legitimate medicinal drug. Now, what happened? Now, the same people who were condemning people, they were dogging these people out. Those same people, when you see them, they just came from somewhere and they got a little baggie. Miss Johnson? What you got in that baggie? This ain't nothing but a little medicinal, baby. Wait a minute. Now, wasn't you the same one that said all those people were low lives? They were all of this. I specifically heard some things derogatory said about people. Matter of fact, when you are engaged in something that the public does not like, they will also in turn downplay any other thing that you do. So because someone thought, like my elder used to smoke these things called beaties, and they like little brown cigarette looking things, but they roll. They don't have a filter on. So I've been a witness to people saying that they would not accept any gospel coming from him because that's what they thought he was smoking marijuana. And that's all they needed to have was that connection, and automatically every bit of word that he said is now null and void. And this game is still being played politically. All they have to do is attach you to something, and then all of a sudden now everything that person says is now called into question. Now, that being said, as we're going into this topic of abortion, now there's finally a thought process about, okay, this is something wrong. But you back up before, a lot of these conversations about abortion being wrong were not had that deeply in the black community, because it was being pushed to us to do it. And we didn't understand at that time that we were multiplying more than anybody else. Now we understand that our people have been multiplying more than other ethnic groups. So it was a real push for us to deal with some of these things. So I guess the point or the direction that I have to deal with this now is from a person who was pushed into engaging into something like that, and how that sits as far as their judgment. And sometimes people will say, well, you had the power, you have the power. Power is a funny thing. When you don't know you have it, you don't walk in it. You don't press that envelope, and it can deceive you when it comes down to that. So I want to start in Leviticus chapter 20. Because there are, a lot of times we'll look at something and we'll say, okay, this is what the word says. This is what it is, and this is all it's going to be. We have to understand that Yahweh has his word, and there's a base point. But then Yahweh knows individually each situation. That is something that man does not. So we can take the base part of Yahweh's law, and we can say, okay, this is what it says. But then there's some individual circumstances that we may not have. So Leviticus chapter 20, and I want you to start that at verse 10.
And the man that commits adultery with another man's wife, even he that commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
The both of them shall be put to death. This is point blank the law. This is what the law says. This is why when these people brought this woman caught in the act of adultery to Yahshua, it was why it was a false judgment. They said this woman has been caught in adultery in the very act. The only way to catch her in the very act is they had both parties. Yet the only one who's facing judgment was the woman. Where was the individual that she was caught in the act with? There's not even a mention of that individual. And what happened? Mashiach didn't do judgment. Well, wait a minute. The law says you both die. Now, why didn't Yahshua say, look, I know who he is. He stay right by Jerusalem Middle School. I'm gonna kill her. And then I'm going to go on down the street. We're going to bust that left right by Jerusalem Middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kill him too. Why didn't he just go ahead and take care of that business? When he saw the judgment wasn't right, what happened? What happened? What they do up here? What they do downtown when they don't do the case right, throw it out of court. No, you take the whole case and go that way. Well, no. Well, we can still deal with this point. No. We can't deal with none of it. Once you came out of order, the whole case get thrown out. What else you do? Throw the case out. But then he tells the woman, and that now he knows she got caught. Because he said, woman, go and sin no more. If he didn't think she did it, or he didn't know that she did it, he would not have said, go and sin no more. He said, woman, where are your accusers? I see not any. Now, this is systematically how he threw the case out. See, there's one thing about him throwing the case out. There's another thing with how he threw it out. How did he throw it out? He got rid of her witnesses. He went one by one, dealing with some things. All right, yeah. Let's go ahead and do this. He that is without sin cast the first stone. Now, why would they convict it? Each one of them know what they done, right? Now, some of them did it on the way there when they brought the woman, and they feeling this like, some tell me he know. One by one, they dropping off. After he gets rid of her witnesses, now he can talk to her. Now he can deal with her without all this other situation going on about he say, she say. No. Go and sin no more. Even though the law says she's supposed to be stoned. She's supposed to be murdered right off the rip. So we already see, okay, if the judgment is not right, then he has the ability to give some leeway. All right? So that's one thing. Now let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 12. Second Samuel chapter 12, and let's start this at verse 1.
And Yahweh sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him, and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up. And it grew up together with him, and with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drank of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd.
Now, part of you can hear the culture in this. Sometimes you're reading something and you just go right to the part that you have a question about. But on your way to that, you're gonna accidentally run into culture. And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd. Wait a minute. There's a certain part of hospitality that is just expected. Like somebody comes to your house, it is expected that you're going to offer them a meal. Wait a minute. We call that Southern hospitality. They said we got it down here in the South. Yahweh, it's Yahweh hospitality. So this didn't come from the South. This came from him. So we think we got something because we, was raised, below a certain area. So this is where this comes from. No, it is expected that there's some kind of decent treatment that is going to happen with someone who has done you no harm. It is automatically expected. Go ahead.
To dress for the wayfaring man that was to come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. Now,
this whole scenario, think about what this scenario is putting together as far as culture, that he automatically feels responsible to prepare a meal for the man that has come to him. So much, in fact, that he does not take of his own, but takes his poor neighbors. That's how much the culture expects us to deal with certain things. Okay? It is so strong that this individual, this made-up individual, has gone and stole something just to prepare for somebody else coming to his house. That's culture. So much, in fact, remember Yahshua said, they had said something about the woman. Hey, wait a minute, now, I came to your house, you ain't wash my feet. You didn't give me nothing to wash me. You didn't do none of this stuff when I came to your house. You want to tell me how sinful this woman is. Tell me about what you did when I came to your house. Now, why would Yahshua ask that? There's a certain part of culture that is expected. Now, if there's a certain part of culture that is expected when someone comes to our house, now maybe we'll understand why they say, wait a minute, if these people don't have this like mind, don't let them come in your house. See, we'll deal with the left, but won't deal with the right. We'll invite anybody in our house. Come on in. Come on, bring the devil with you. Sit down. I got 2 seats, one for you, one for Lucifer. Wait a minute. There's an expectation here. All right? Where is this culture coming from? You can't just go and get to that part. Listen to the culture that's happening on the way to getting to the thing that you want to read about. Go ahead.
And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man.
Greatly kindled against this man. I can't believe that he took somebody else's stuff to fix for this person. You got to think about it. He didn't take this stuff so he can go and make money with it. So that means the culture is so strong, he feels obligated. But so much, in fact, that he just didn't want to lose none of his stuff. Go ahead.
And he said to Nathan, as Yahweh lives, the man that has done this thing shall surely die. And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity. You know,
you have to think about how deep something is that you going to die and you got to pay restitution. What? I mean, if I'm going to die, you don't think that's payment? So I got to die and pay? Go ahead.
And Nathan said to David, you are the man.
Now, consider something then. You know, because I had a buddy that I talked to, and he was telling me about some issues and problems that he was having, and how, you know, he feels like, you know, hey, it was, you know, generational curses that he was dealing with. When it says unto the 3rd generation, he felt like, you know, hey, he's had some issues because of some other things that his family members might have committed. And we'll get to the point where it says, you know, a man shall die for his own sins. Well, dying for the sins is one thing. Paying for it is something else. All right, so if David said that the man shall die and then he shall pay fourfold, he said die first. So who the hell paying the four? Somebody paying the four. Who the hell paying the four? He didn't say he shall pay fourfold, then he gonna die. No. He said die first. Who the hell paying the debt then? Oh, okay. I guess his estate paying for it. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Thus says Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you out of the hands of Saul. Mm-hmm. And I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your bosom, and gave you the house of Israel and of Yehudah. And if that had been too little, I would have moreover have given unto you such and such things. Wherefore has you despised the commandment of Yahweh to do evil in his sight? Thus has you killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and has taken his wife to be your wife, and has slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
So he said, you have slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. He said, you slain him because you orchestrated it. See, Yahweh is not going to say, you know what, I'm going to find the man of Ammon who did this murder. No. He said, you know, you did. See, when you orchestrated it, this is what you are the one that is going to deal with that weight is going to fall on. Never mind who physically did it. That's something they'll have to deal with. No. Right now, I'm dealing with who planned it. Go ahead.
Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house.
And when Yahweh said never, he meant never. Now, he is being dealt with according to the things that were given unto him. Now, it sounds like Yahweh just blowing off some steam when he said, I gave you your master's house and your master's wives. Now, it just sounds like he just upset. No. This is the basis for his judgment. The basis for his judgment goes according to all the things that he's been given. When we hear things and we say, to whom much is given, much is expected, we don't even understand what that means. We just be saying it. We just be saying something, we are more than conquerors. God is great, God is good. I don't know what the hell we be doing. We just be saying some stuff and don't really understand. Oh, no. His judgment is directly connected to all the stuff he was given. He said, no, man, I set your life up, bro. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives. Bro, what did you have need of? And then you go and do this? So the judgment is taking all of that into consideration. Go ahead.
Because you have despised me and has taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus says Yahweh, behold, I will raise up evil against you out of your own house.
Now, this is, pretty strong. Now, I'm going to raise up evil against you out of your own house. Now, even though Yahweh says this, sometimes, you just think, okay, it could come from anywhere. Oh, no. He picked where the evil was going to come from. And damn it, that evil came out strong from the same area more than once. Go ahead.
And I will take your wives before your eyes, and I will give them unto your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this son.
So, wait a minute. He has already said what's going to happen. Now, there is an individual who is born for this sin right here. He was born to commit that act right there. Now, the act has already been prescribed. All right? The evil is set beforehand. I don't care what happened before. I don't care how many marriages, how many kids, how many joyous things. None of it mattered. That individual was born for this foulness right here. And he says, I'm going to make one of your neighbors do this. Now, you can't get no more neighborly than the person who's sleeping in the room next to you. Now, that's not, who is my neighbor? That's neighborly right there. Go ahead.
For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And Dawid said unto Nathan, I have sinned against Yahweh. And Nathan said unto Dawid, Yahweh also had put away your sin. You shall not die.
This is where you start getting into the difference between forgiving and atonement. And we often get this question because this is where that question came. Okay, if I was pushed into an abortion, will I be forgiven? Wait a minute, right here. Yahweh has put away from your sin. He had already called out his own judgment. He was going to die. The sin been put away. So that's forgiveness. But now there's atonement. See, there's two different things. And sometimes it's so difficult to explain that to people because we've never heard of anything like that. All we've ever heard is forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. We're never told about atonement. But we see two different steps right here. Yahweh has put away your sin. Now consider, we all just came here. All right? But you did something before. He put away your sin. How you know that? Because you here. If every deal that we make brings a just recompense, we wouldn't have even been able to make it here. So then what comes after that? Okay, now you got to atone for that. He put it away. But now you got to atone for that. And we somehow that's very, very difficult for us to understand. But I'm telling you, it's very, very easy. All Yahweh had to do is get a little card about this big, put a chip on it, and call it the Sin MasterCard. And then every time you do something, you swipe. All right, now you took that stuff home. But guess what? That bill gonna come 30 days from now. And guess what? You ain't got to pay the whole bill. You ain't got to pay the whole. You know what you can do? You put something down on it. But guess what? Your account still going. And you still got your sin card. You still got your sin card. You know what? I'm gonna go down the street. Wow! Swipe this thing again. Boom! Sin double. But guess what? You still ain't got to pay the whole thing. You just put something on it. But sooner or later, you're going to realize, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to pay this. Now we got a problem. Now the interest charges keep adding up from all that stuff that you kept swiping. See, he put it away, but it hadn't been atoned for. And this is not anything that the nations or the church body in general want us to know about. Because when it comes down to that, people don't make their pastors rich when they got to deal with atonement. People make their pastors rich if the pastor say, God angry with you. God already forgave you. Now make sure you deposit that check. Done deal. This is what the people pay for. But if you tell them that, hey, there's some other actions that have to happen after that, now we got an issue. Keep reading.
Howbeit, because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of Yahweh to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto you shall surely die.
Mm-hmm. So Yahweh done already pretty much prescribed an abortion right here. You know, that child got done. See, that child can't live. I'm telling you right off the rip, the child can't live. I don't care what happened, the child can't live because all of your deeds are going to be attached to that child. Now consider what that means. As long as this child lives, Yahweh's name is constantly blasphemed just by the existence of the child. So Yahweh has already decreed, no, it can't live. Go ahead.
And Nathan departed unto his house, and Yahweh struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto Dawid, and it was very sick.
And this is the only punishment that you're going to hear about this woman. You're not going to hear any other thing, even though this word says that both of them shall die. Because Dawid was not given death, then all this other stuff comes to him for atonement. Not one thing is mentioned when it comes down to her. Yahweh is holding him accountable for all of the things that he has received. So then when you have a situation where a woman is under a man and that man pressures her to make a move, understand who Yahweh gonna come talk to. He knew who was in charge. You think he didn't know that okay, she had charge over her whole body? Yahweh knew. No. She couldn't tell Dawid no. This the kind of dude when he come to town they sing. No, Yahweh holding him accountable. You think Yahshua didn't know what the woman did? Go ahead.
Dawid therefore besought Elohim for the child. And Dawid fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth. But he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died. Mm-hmm. And the servants of Dawid feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself, if we tell him that the child is dead? But when Dawid saw that his servants whispered, Dawid perceived that the child was dead. Therefore Dawid said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then Dawid arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of Yahweh and worshiped.
Mm-hmm.
Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat.
Right. Now, the people are confused about this because this is when most people then go into their mourning. But now he has come out of mourning. He has washed himself. He refreshed himself. Now he looks like he is in better spirits than what he looked before. And this is normally when other people's mourning begins. Go ahead.
Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that you have done? You did fast and wept for the child while it was alive.
Mm-hmm.
But when the child was dead, you did rise and eat bread. And he said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, Who can tell whether Elohim will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me.
Right. He understands what point that he's in. That there's absolutely nothing that can be done about this. Yahweh has answered. But there was always the possibility that he could show me some grace while the child was living. Once it's a done deal, it's a done deal. You know, a lot of times we get off into some situations and not really understand how great the power of Yahweh is. There was, this individual who had first got into the word. As soon as they got into the word, ended up getting into a relationship. Person said, hey, yeah, we're going to do, everything. Oh, yeah. A child was conceived. Then the other person switched. And then here you go. You got this new individual in the word, didn't know what to do, hit their knees and said, okay, I done got myself into something. No time flat. That baby was violently ripped out of the person's belly, and it was no more. But that individual had done flipped and said, there was a whole lot of things that were being said. Yeah, I'm going to be down with this. I'm going to be down with this. A lot of times we call on Yahweh, but we don't understand the power of what happened when we call on him. Okay? And we have limits to what we think he will do because of what we done heard he is. We have heard that he is love. We have heard that this. Yahweh said point blank, that child got to die. I don't care what nobody told you. That child got to die. And sometimes when you don't, you're talking about being, having an individual who's new in the word, they don't even know their power and what they mean to Yahweh. And cried unto Yahweh, and some stuff happened days later. You have to learn. There's some folk you might want to leave alone. There's some situations you might not want to get into. When it get down to Jacob, Jacob accidentally cursed his wife. She said, "Man, I ain't got your gods, Daddy. I don't know. Was that Rachel? I ain't got your gods. Look. So now he jacked up. Whomever you find your God, let them be cursed and blah blah blah. Hey, he don't know his wife got the God. She done slid him under her, and she done told her daddy, look, I'm on my purification. So she know he not looking under there. Boom, she got it. She done found her a good hiding spot. Problem is, her husband running off at the mouth. Because now he believe what he's seeing. The problem is, that's a blessed man. And he running off at the mouth. Now he done ran off at the mouth and accidentally cursed his wife. We don't even think about how powerful that is. Wait a minute. who was it? Esaac tricked into blessing the other child. Okay. Did Yahweh reverse the blessing? Cause he thought it was the other child. No. What came out of his mouth came out of his mouth. I don't give a damn how you made it came out of his mouth. I don't give a damn how it come out. I'm telling you, whatever come out that mouth, he gonna deal with. Who he blesses, who he bless. So those are things that we have to take into consideration. But along that whole part of the punishment part, let's go into Proverbs chapter 6. Because I can understand that encountering something like that would cause a lot of other thoughts. Proverbs chapter 6, and let's start at verse 1.
My son, if you be surety for your friend, if you had stricken your hand with a stranger, you are snared with the words of your mouth. You are taken with the words of your mouth.
Most of the times when we get into something, it's because we have been emboldened by a friend. We have to be very, very careful about that word friend. I went to Fire High School for a friend. At one incident that had me down in the country for 2 years. I show back up, people say, I thought you were dead. So who the hell told you I was dead? For a so-called friend, and the so-called friend knew exactly what they would lead me into. The so-called friend knew exactly what they had done. And the area that we were going into, you don't go into that area if you done something to these people who stay right across the way from that. They knew exactly what they were doing. Most of the incidents and the situations that we get into are all connected to some friend. Now you understand why Yahweh said, Abraham, get away from your family and your kindred. You know, go to a place which I shall tell you of. Why you want me to lead them? Because I'm telling you, man, you ain't gonna get in trouble. Hang around them. Just come. And eventually he still has to make a separation from him and Lot. He has to. If he does not, then guess what? He don't even get the full blessing that Yahweh has given unto him. So, well, I'm not going to give you something and you're going to share it with him. He's going to have to go somewhere. There's going to have to be a separation here. So when we say, when he says, my son, if you be a surety for your friend, be absolutely careful how far we take that. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Do this now, my son, and deliver yourself. When you are come into the hand of your friend, go, humble yourself, and make sure your friend. Deliver yourself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided her meat in the summer, and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you arise out of your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall your poverty come as one that travails, and your want as an armed man.
Mm-hmm.
A naughty person, a wicked man, walks with a forward mouth. He winks with his eyes. He speaks with his feet. He teaches with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart. He devises mischief continually. He soweth discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy.
Mm-hmm.
These 6 things does Yahweh hate.
Right. Now, we have been, of course, taught that God is love. So when we go and start dealing with things and say that Yahweh actually hates something, it doesn't fit the make-believe role that we have been given for the Most High Covenant God. All we can think of is love. So whenever you start talking about real judgment or real actions, real dealings, the fairy tale people have a problem with you. They have already placed, God is Snow White and in the little pumpkin carriage and everything's just beautiful. They cannot deal with any other thing. So when you start dealing with things that Yahweh hate, now they got a problem. Because they think you must be dealing with a different God. No. I'm dealing with the God I'm supposed to be dealing with. I don't know what God you dealing with. Go ahead.
Yeah. 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. Mm-hmm. A heart that devises wickedness, wicked imagination.
Now, here is where we start getting ourselves into issues, because everything and anything can provoke a thought. Anything. Now, how far those thoughts go is where we end up having some possible issues because of some, especially when somebody has encountered some trauma. When you talk about PTSD, that's what it is. Post-traumatic stress. There has been a stressful event, and it causes some kind of thought disorder. If it wasn't real, they wouldn't have eventually said, hey, man, this is a thing. Because they noticed that people who went through the same type of issues start to have the same type of thoughts and occurrences. Okay, so we'll read this, a heart that devises wicked imaginations. But wait a minute. What makes the heart devise the wicked imagination? See, a lot of times we're trying to fix the wicked imagination. And what we have to do is fix what causes the wicked imagination. See, we get a wound and we put a Band-Aid on. All that means is we can't see the wound. The wound's still there. You did not treat the wound because you put a Band-Aid over the wound. Something brought forth the wicked imagination. What was that? Now, once we start getting to what caused that wicked imagination, now we're getting down to the root cause. Now we have an opportunity to be able to deal with something. Not by just keep patching up the wicked imaginations. Go ahead.
Feet that be swift and running to mischief.
Now, part of what happens, this is why you have to be careful about wicked imaginations, because those things will cause you to run into mischief. Because of the imagination that you brought forth, now you're running into mischief. Go ahead.
A false witness that speaks lies, and he that sows discord among brothers.
Now, he says that he does not care for these thoughts, these individuals. Go to Genesis chapter 6. Because I think we kind of forget where and how deep this wicked imagination part goes. Genesis chapter 6 and start at verse 1.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they took them wives of all which they choose. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Mm-hmm. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Wait a minute. What displeased Yahweh? That every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now, why did he say every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually? It's almost like Yahweh was like, okay, well, I mean, some of them ain't going to be right. Okay. But man, they can't stop with these wicked imaginations. It's almost like there's a certain part, because Yahweh like, all right, I covered them in flesh. I know they got flesh. So there's some leeway there. But because of this imagination of the thoughts of their heart, read the next line.
And it repented Yahweh that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
Wait a minute. So, verse 5, and Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth. All right, so man did great wickedness, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. At that point, he said, he can't get right. Why? Because this is all that's on the mind. See, you can't change the actions if you don't alter the thoughts. He said, these two things go together. Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and how they gonna get right? All they doing is thinking about evil continuously. Now they already did evil, and now they thinking about more evil after they just did that. I ain't got no choice but go ahead and deal with this. And the last thing we want to do is put ourselves in a situation where Yahweh has to deal with us. Let's go to Micah chapter 2. Because there is a line in between, these thoughts and then our actions. Micah chapter 2, and let's start that at verse 1.
Woe to them that devise lawlessness and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand.
Now, wait a minute. Woe to them that devise lawlessness. So, they're planning it. So, the wicked imagination within their heart has caused them to put together a scheme and work evil upon their beds. This is where they are practicing it, where they're entertaining all the thoughts. When the morning is light, now they put it in action. But that is what the wicked imagination has brought forth. The wicked imagination started at nighttime in the bed. They thought about it. They devised it. When it was morning, they went and put it in gear. So you have one thing with imagination. You have something altogether different when we start making moves because of those thoughts. Now we're making moves because of an imagination that we have imagined, and now we've made real moves because of a false thought. This is where things can start to get really problematic. And let's go to, I want to go to James chapter 2, because there was something else that we needed to get into. I'm going to come back to this other question here. James chapter 2. Because it was stated or said concerning about how someone felt they were being treated when it comes down to certain situations. And we have to make sure that when we're dealing with something, we have to deal with it at the best of our ability according to what's written. But we also have to also put there that Yahweh also looks at, okay, how long you been doing this? See, we know if we went downtown, they're going to pull up the record. They're going to say, this is your 8th offense. You get leeway when you do something, even if it's horrific, depending on what it is. You can go down there and tell them folk, I'm a first offender. This is my first time. No, I ain't never tried to do this before, Your Honor. This ain't like me. I normally, I don't normally try to kill nobody and get all their belongings and put it in the back of my car and drive back. I don't normally do that. This is my first time, Your Honor. I promise you this. I don't know what got into me. Now, when you show back up in court 3 months, Your Honor, this ain't normal. This just my second time doing this. I normally don't pack up the whole van. Last time it was the car. I normally don't pack up the whole van with the stuff I done stole and then try to kill the people when they come outside. I don't normally do this, Your Honor. This ain't me. The third time, Your Honor, see, normally, Your Honor, well, hold on. Now, we've established a pattern now by those actions. So now we can't say that, they've dealt with me partially. No. Each one of the situations or the previous occurrences are witnesses. It is absolutely very difficult to say that your trial is not just when there are 8 witnesses against you. Now, the problem is you are all 8 of the witnesses because there are 8 instances of the same thing. James chapter 2, and let's start at verse 1.
My brothers, have not the faith of our Adonai Yahshua Mashiach, the Adonai of glory, with respect of persons. Mm-hmm. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come and also a poor man in vile apparel, and you have respect to him that wears the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit you here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand you there, or sit here under my footstool, you are not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts.
You have become judges of evil thoughts. Now, we wouldn't even consider that a wicked imagination. But wait a minute. A decision has been made based upon the attire of the individual. We have decided that this individual is not worthy of certain presence because of the clothing that they have. And not the clothing that they are wearing because, one is in culture, one is out of culture. No. It's one look like it's rich, the other one look like it's poor. So it is then written, you have become judges of evil thoughts. Go ahead.
Hearken, my beloved brothers. Hath not Elohim chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he had promised to them that love him? But you have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seats? Mm-hmm. Do not they blaspheme that worthy name by which you are called? If you fulfill the royal law according to the scriptures, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You do well. But if you have respect to persons, you have committed sin, and are convinced of the law as transgressors.
Wait a minute. If you have respect to persons, you commit sin. What that law at? Which one of the commandments is that? How we find that one? But see, we say, I don't do respect to person. Wait a minute. If we'll accept one thing, if one person said, but we won't accept it if the other individual said, we have become judges of evil thoughts. Because I respect the person say, I can accept it only if this person said. And I get it. There's certain things that one person may be able to say to you before another. But when we were dealing with the difference between right and wrong, right don't change because it was somebody who you didn't like that said it.
Right.
It can't be none right because it was a none like. Wait a minute, I didn't like them, so what they said couldn't have been right. Or I have some kind of animosity with this individual, so it can't be right. Then we have to go back. Then wait a minute. It says when the dumb ass spoke. The dumb donkey was able to see the angel and moved out the way. The man was not. So do we become judges of evil thoughts when we say, I will only accept this from this individual? You know, talking to a friend of mine, and especially, you know, being out there for so long, searching for the truth. Sometimes, you know, the truth passes you about 5-6 times while you're looking for it. You know, you keep looking for the truth and you went right past it, you know, because the thought process is, what does the truth look like? And we have already prepackaged how we want the truth to look, which is funny, all right? Because you ain't never seen it, right?
Right.
But you telling people how it supposed to look when you see it. Boy, you know how, hey, boy, hey, that's pretty slow right there. So then when people encounter it, they don't know what to do with it. So, you know, I've been in this word, of course, for a while, and partner of mine says, you know, he is, you know, searching and things like that, and then somebody gets in the vehicle with him and tell him, you know, you are Israelite, you are such and such, and he said, wait a minute, I got a friend who teach, you know, and it's funny. People have to be ready to hear the truth. You know, and I tell people that all the time. You can't, you know, till the ground, plant the seed, water the seed, and receive the increase all in the same season, all in the same situation. No, you put whatever you got to put there and you go on. Somebody else gonna water that seed. Life gonna water that seed. You know, when them trials and tribulations start coming, wait a minute, that ground being tilled. Now all of a sudden, the same seed that was just sitting on top of that hard, barren soil, all of a sudden, now it's sunk down in the earth. Now all he need now is some water. And Yahweh said, well, I'm going to get some water. But why don't you call it the rain, Yahweh? No, you know what's better? Salt water. Cry on it. So now he got to bring some tears. Now he finna bring some tears on top of that ground that he done roughed up, on top of that seed that was sitting on top of the hard ground and it wouldn't grow. All of a sudden, them tears making something grow. But it's the same seed that been sitting there for 20 years. He can't even throw no new seed. That same seed. That seed 20 years old. It didn't have no earth and it didn't have no water. This is why we have to sit and let Yahweh do what he does. And because the last thing you want to do is to try to get somebody when they're really not ready, then all they're going to do is step on that opportunity. And the question then becomes whether they're in a worse situation once that happens. Go ahead, brother. Keep reading.
For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all.
Mm-hmm.
For he that says, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you commit no adultery, yet you kill, you are become a transgressor of the law. So speak you, and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that shows no mercy, and mercy rejoice against judgment.
All right, so he shall have judgment without mercy upon those who have showed no mercy. So the mercy you receive is all connected to the mercy that you put out. So when we receive something and we think, oh my God, man, this is harsh on me. Pause for a second. How you dealt with it? When it was your opportunity, how did you deal with it? How much mercy did you show other people? Well, that's how much mercy you owed. So, and when we look and we see our mercy account is NSF, you know what I'm saying? We like, man, you know what I'm saying? I done had a bounce mercy check. Well, hey, the only way you have a bounce mercy check is you ain't showed none. Because the only way to get some is to show some. That's it. That's the only way you get it. That's the only way you get it. So if we want it, we have to distribute it. And sometimes that's just difficult for us to deal with. But if respected persons can go one way, respected persons can also go the other way. Like when you deal with the case of the Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan is an oxymoron. There ain't supposed to be a Good Samaritan. So, but if you have already said, all right, that person is a Samaritan, they can't possibly do good. Well, you've also entertained evil thoughts. You have also been a respected person. So now, when this person does something good, you can't respect it. Because you've already decided that anybody who comes from this place, anybody who does this thing, anybody who hangs out with those people cannot do right. You have been a judge of evil thoughts. You've already decided what manner of individual that is. And when you get down to the parable, the Samaritan was the best one. The one who they said could not do good. Did better than the priest and the Levite. How is that possible? Then you have to ask yourself, what kind of mercy then have that priest and that Levite gathered unto themselves? So when they end up into some kind of situation of life, will they think that Yahweh has been unfair to them? Will they think that Yahweh is being harsh unto them? Will they go, woe is me, I can't believe I'm going through all these troubles. I can't believe this. Wait a minute. Let's look at your mercy account. How much do you have on your account? How much oil is in that lamp? And you are directly in control of how much oil is in that lamp. Nobody else is in control of how much oil is in your lamp. You are the only one that can influence that. Ain't no borrowing no oil from your friend. You either have oil in that lamp or you don't. And if you got oil in it, it's because you have distributed some mercy somewhere else. So a lot of times we're dealing with some of these situations, but we're not looking deep enough into that. Let's go to Yohanan, John chapter 19. Because we'll deal with situations with respect to person. See, we got one way we'll deal with a situation at work, and we got another way we deal with a situation when we get home. You know. Same thing we tolerated at work. Hey, do it at 5:31. You gonna learn today. You gonna learn today. Do it at 5:31. Get off at 5:29. Come on now. Come on, 5:29. We already on our way to the parking lot. They said, don't you get off at 5:30. I said, when I get to my car, it's gonna be 5:30. I'm trying to tell you. And I tell you what, say something out of line at 5:31. You're gonna find out today. But we got all kind of mercy from 8 to 5:29. Okay. Yohanan chapter 19 and start this at verse 31.
The Yehudis, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that the Sabbath day was a high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. But when they came to Yahshua and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs.
All right, now this is what has to happen to keep his legs from being broken. But verse 31, the Yehudim therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was an high day, besought Pilate that their legs might be broken. Once again, we start to deal with things with that respect to persons, for, this Sabbath is a high day, so let's not do, this on that day. Oh, okay. So, but we can do it on any other day. Then that'll be okay. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26. Matthew 26 and started at verse 1.
And it came to pass, when Yahshua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, you know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Yahshua by subtlety and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people.
All right, so respect the person. Just don't end with the person. Hell, we have respect the days.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the feast day. You know what I'm saying? God forbid we kill on the feast day. Now Monday, we're gonna kill that knuckle. Woo! Wait a minute. So it wasn't wicked on Monday. It wasn't wicked on Monday. It was only wicked if it fall on the Sabbath or feast day. But Monday it wasn't wicked. This is the thought process that you have some people, especially when they only want to deal with certain aspects of the law. Parts that they don't like, they will say is wicked in this land. But then once we get out of the land, all of a sudden it's going to be righteous again. Wait a minute. So the same act is wicked if you do it before 9 o'clock. But it's righteous if you do it at 10:15. Why does that make sense? But see, respect of persons don't just stay with the person. It just doesn't stay in the area of an individual. It transfers itself all over the place. Before you know it, you end up unable to rule over your own spirit because of the respect of person. Because it starts to blind everything, not just dealing with people. Now we have gotten the holy days have been put so high that, hey, we can't possibly do anything on that day. This is the same thing that led Yahshua to have to deal with all these other individuals. They said, hey man, why are your disciples going through and picking this corn on the Sabbath? He said, man, should they starve? Because it's the Sabbath? Should they starve? They're not considering, and this is what we'll do. We'll take all of that out of context. Here they are moving about, teaching among the people, which means what? They are standing in the role of the priest. Mm-hmm. And they are working, all right? We then take that moving thought of them being out and amongst the people, and we put it right there in our living room. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. You, on the other hand, had 5, 6, 7 hours before the sun went down to get whatever you needed. There was absolutely nothing stopping you. How you put yourself in that same situation? Now, you got to respect the person, all right, and the person is you. How you put yourself in that same situation? You done sat down, you done rolled over in the bed 18 times. 6:45, oh my goodness, I forgot to get biscuits. Oh my goodness, I need biscuits for the Sabbath. Oh my lamb, what am I going to do? Oh Yahweh, forgive me. Oh, I'm going to Kroger and I'm taking Yahshua with me. Wait a minute. You've been sitting on your John Brown hind parts for 8, 9, 10 hours. Now all of a sudden, Yahshua at Kroger with you? Oh yeah, you got to respect the person. And if you want to see that person you respect, go look in the mirror. There they go. The man right there. There you go right there. Because now you done gave yourself a pass, and that is not what these individuals here were doing. It was very difficult to make these trails from one place to another. And ain't no fast food. Yahshua didn't pass no McDonald's. All right, he ain't just, you know what, hey man, ride the Dunkin' round through the drive-through, man. Give me a number 2. That's not what happened. So it doesn't just go that easy. So you can't just grab that and just sit your situation right there in the middle of that and say you in the same situation. Now I got it. If your donkey break down, hey, look, man, my ox in the ditch. I couldn't get to the store. There it is. But not if we just been sitting all day and then make that move at the last minute. That is something altogether different. Go ahead, bro. Where you stop at?
26 and 6. Matthew 26 and 6.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Now when Yahshua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointments, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahshua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble you the woman? For she had wrought a good work upon me. Mm-hmm. For you have the poor always with you, but me have you not always.
Now wait a minute. Now, how is this being perceived? That this woman is getting, jumped on for her work. Now, what would we do if that was us? Do we then get upset? Because, if these people moving with Yahshua, okay, these are pretty important individuals, and they questioning, saying, what is the purpose of this waste? Woman, you are wasteful. Does she get upset and leave? Because that's what we do. Go ahead.
For in that she had poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial.
Uh-huh.
Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman has done, be told for a memorial of her.
Right. She has a memorial for her and her work, and all we know is her name is woman. That's it. Let's go to Galatians chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6, and start that at verse 1.
Brothers, if a man be overtaken in a fault, you which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness.
Now, why would you want to do this in the spirit of meekness? Keep going.
Considering yourself.
Wait a minute. You do understand that sooner or later you're going to get into something too, right? You don't believe that, you know what I'm saying? You so squeaky clean. You squeaky. You just rub yourself and you can hear that sound. You do understand that sooner or later you're going to get into something, right? Now, here we go. Here we go back to that Mercer account. Consider yourself. Now, when you consider yourself, what happens when your turn comes? Now the angel of Yahweh gonna look in that account. Let's see how much mercy we got in this account. Go ahead.
Lest you be also tempted. bear you one another burdens, and so fulfill the law of the Mashiach.
Right. Now, are we willing to do that? Are we willing to try and carry something for our brother or our sister? Or will we even attempt to do that? And if not, what happens when we can't carry one of ours? Go ahead.
For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceives himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teaches in all good things. Be not deceived. Elohim is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap.
Wait a minute. Whatever man plant, that's what's going to grow. Whatever man put out in the earth, that's what's going to come back from the earth. Not once ever in the history of the earth has anybody planted a carrot and got collard greens. Not once. Not once. Not one time. Bill Gates got them twisted seeds. Even he can't plant carrots and come up with collard greens. So if you're confused by what came up out of that ground, you got to go back and find out, what did I put in it? Because, you know, sometimes it look different when you put it in the earth than when it grow. And you swear, ain't no way I planted this. No, you did that. No, there ain't no way. That's what I planted. Now, you might need to go research what you planted. I'm telling you, that's what you put in the earth. The earth don't just give you stuff. The earth just don't give you something that you didn't put in. Somebody put this in the earth. Now, who put it there? Go ahead, Prince. You got something there?
Yeah, Elder, this goes right back to what you were talking about earlier with the situation with Dawid, where it says he's going to die and then you're going to pay fourfold. A lot of times we may not see the outcome of what we've put out there. Like you said, you know, the person was asking you, you know, what have my forefathers done that I'm paying this price? Right. And man, that's a real hard question, bro. When it comes down to that, man, that was one of those I didn't rush to deal with that question because having to live in the country, man, I saw some different stuff. So we don't look at things the same way in the city. So when I got to the country, man, that was everybody's first question. Hey, who your folk? What? I was like, is that everybody's question right now? Who boy you? What kind of question is it? Everywhere I went, who boy you? Who boy you? Is that like a common phrase down there? You know? But eventually, I started to see the reactions. So I one of them asked me again, who boy you? I told him my daddy name is Esaac. I see what's going on. They thinking everything they knew about my dad. All right. Baby, put up the silverware and take him around back. What the hell? I don't know what my dad did, but I tell you what, he automatically was like, I don't know if you got that what your daddy got. Baby, make sure you put the liquor away. Don't lead him there by the liquor. What? What happened? Oh no, these people done grew up with that individual, and they have learned their ways and how they operate. So then they want to know: did you get that? Those traits? Did some of those curses follow you? That's what some of those questions were. I didn't get that when I first got down there because the question seemed strange to me. Nobody ever asked me that in the city. I never got asked that anywhere in the city. Went to the country and every yard I stepped into, they want to know who my folk was. So that was a real change in perspective when that happens and it starts happening over and over and over. And then you realize, wait a minute, when Yahweh is dealing with these lineages, Okay? He said, Cain got a seed. Wait a minute. Even when you get down to, okay, Cain did something. You go down further down, they said, well, Lamech didn't kill. Wait a minute. You got killing in your blood. Wait a minute. So wait a minute, there's some validity to that when people start asking, who your folk? Because if you're around these folks, whether you know it or not, you're going to pick up some of their ways. That's why it's very powerful about the friends that we choose. Because you're going to pick up some of their ways too, whether you know it or not. See, you're either influencing them or they're influencing you. Somebody picking up something from somebody. Go ahead, brother. Where we end up?
Verse 8.
All right, go ahead.
For he that sows to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that sows to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap everlasting life. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith.
Wait a minute. So then there is an extra incentive. There is extra duty when it comes down to how we're supposed to treat those that are of the household of faith. Why does he even call it the household of faith? Yahshua says, who is my mother and my brother? It's the people who share this word with me. Now you put onto this, as we have therefore the opportunity, let us do good unto all men. Now it didn't say now, because some people read that differently. Let us do good only to Israelite men. That's not what I read. Because I know some individuals who have that thought process. They only think that they have to do good to certain individuals. And see, we will entertain evil thoughts. Why do you think they were so easy to call us boy? They said, as we have therefore the opportunity, let us do good to all men. They said, but that ain't no man. See, that's a boy. Man, he's 50 years old. But if they can designate you something else, then now they don't have to keep that writing toward you. See, this is how we entertain evil thoughts and make it okay to drive down that lane. See, it says all men, but, and this is why they can put in their writing, all men are created equal. And then black people went up there, you see, right here, it said all men are created equal. They said, yeah, it is. Then when you find a man, let us know, because you ain't there. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. That's how we renegotiate, and now that respect the persons is there. So understand, we are the biggest victims of respect the person. So it is absolutely wild that we would turn around and entertain the same thought. We are the biggest victims of that. We are sitting in a land that has a writing that says all men are created equal. And then we redeem not men. Complete respect of person. We have everything that they said a man's supposed to have. The only thing we had was a color that the other man didn't have. Now, we're not a man. Nobody has suffered worse when it comes down to respect of persons. So if that's the case, when we entertain it, have we not then become exceeding sinful? You see, it says that when a person has been a servant, it says we are supposed to always look out for the stranger, that we're supposed to not mistreat the stranger because we know the heart of a stranger because we were strangers in Egypt. So when you see people and how harsh they treat any strangers, wait a minute, have their sin become exceedingly sinful? Because Yahweh said, no. I know what you went through. And for you to then claim all of that pain, but still inflict this pain on somebody else? No. Your sin is now multiplied. Consider the individual who was forgiven of a debt. He was forgiven of that debt. All right? Mercy was showed to that individual. Because mercy was showed, guess what now? See, if there is an account of a buildup of mercy, there is also a negative account when you have received it. See, your account is already negative. You're like, how's my account negative? Because somebody done showed you some great mercy that you did not deserve. And that's all. That's what it is. It is something that you didn't deserve. You didn't work for that. You didn't earn it. It was given unto you. So you're already at a deficit. You're at a deficit because of something that you have already received that you had no business receiving. So then when it is your opportunity, and now you are holding the scepter at this point. Now you have the opportunity and you reject to show mercy. Oh no, you got double fold of an issue. Because you were already shown mercy. You were already in the negative. And then when it's your opportunity to show it and you don't, oh, now you got a double negative going on. Now, add that double negative to the part where, especially unto them that are of the household of faith. Damn, that's another negative.
Look, how about I look at it the other way? When David had so much power, as you said, beginning, and much is, like you said, beginning, much to whom much is given, much is required, and then he ended up, he, like you said, he been mercy. I mean, Yahweh gave him mercy and showed him mercy, gave him his master's wives and everything, and then he went out and did what he did. That's why that kid had to die. Who your father is? They go back to that question. Who your folk?
Right.
Who your daddy?
Well, and look, Shlomo had to wear it too. Because when they consider who your daddy, Shlomo, David, well, we know what would happen right before you got born, and that's all Shlomo could deal with. All he could do was build houses and get wives. That's pretty much, I can't imagine him doing a damn thing else. What was the focus of his life? Build a house, marry a wife. Build a house, marry a wife. He couldn't, his mind didn't work on nothing else. Maybe he can write a few Proverbs. But man, it was on him. It was completely on him, and I mean, he wore that. Nobody else had 1,000 of anything. Man, you got people that didn't have 1,000 horses.
Right.
But you have to consider the spirit of how he was brought into life. And he operated in that and carried it on. Now, Yahweh is going to hold us responsible for the actions that we make. And you talk about that thing coming through David's house. You got to consider dealing with the wives and having one of his sons murdered. Man, you talking about that came from the same individual.
Yep.
They come from the same individual. So when he said, I'm going to raise up evil out of your house, oh boy, he sure did it. He sure did it. So, but because of the great power that he had, Yahweh has to come at him with that kind of power. You have to consider something. If I have this pretty little 2-year-old baby girl, how strong do I have to come at her to tell her she's wrong? I can tell her she wrong over an imaginary tea set while I'm sipping it. Baby, don't do that. And she can receive it. But when you're a big, strong, hairy, burly, stinking man, how strong does he have to come at you to convince you that you were standing in the wrong spot? He has to come according to your strength. So the strength that we possess also commands the strength in how he has to deal with us. How do you walk in that strength? Well, that's how he pretty much had to come at you. He can't come at you with soft music. He got jazz playing, you know. Give it a bump. Do, 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 do. Hey, brother, you did wrong. You know, he ain't gonna hear that. Did y'all hear something? I thought I heard some soft singing. You hear that? No. He got to come at you in the strength that you walk in. And we don't really understand that. So then when it comes to us, sometimes we end up believing that Yahweh has done us some wrong. One of the statements that I heard today was about the curse. So I want to go to that. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21. Deuteronomy chapter 21, and I want you to start at verse 22. Read 22 and 23.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and he be to be put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but you shall in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of Elohim.
Now, when we deal with this, we are still seeing, and not too long ago, somebody posted a thing about somebody being hung. You ever notice the only people you find hanging just so happen to be us? Yeah. How many other people you seen hanging? Any other kind of, just in any shape, fashion, or form? He that is hanged is an accursed of Elohim. Oh, wait a minute. Yahweh gave Israel blessings and curses. Blessings if you follow what was written. Curses if you did not. To this day, you still find us somewhere hanging. We know the ultimate form of disrespect is when them rednecks will make a noose and throw it in your yard. You have to think that same thing wouldn't even be as derogatory if it landed in another person's yard. No, they purposely mean that when they come to us. And even when we look at the past situations of our people going through that, we look at it as a racial event. We don't consider that our Elohim gave us blessings and curses. And he that is hanged is accursed. We don't even understand what Yahweh was telling us. He keep telling us over and over again. And when you go to our people and start trying to explain the curse to them, they say, oh, I don't want to hear nothing about no curse. But you don't see nobody else hanging. You don't see it nowhere in no fashion, shape, or form. So Yahweh is still, even through the punishments, letting us know who we are. And the way to get out of those curses is to get back into the culture that he has given unto us. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 3. And it says, in Deuteronomy 21 and 23, it says, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but you shall in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is an accursed of Elohim, that your land be not defiled, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you for an inheritance. So to not cause the land to be defiled, then the hanging man that was an accursed should be brought down. Automatically, they was talking about, hey man, y'all need to let's not leave the Messiah up here. It's about to be a holy day. So one thing you can put together here, oh, Yahshua definitely feels us. I don't know if he has a connection to anybody else, but the same things that our Elohim our Adonai suffered, we have suffered as well. But isn't that what he said? If they've called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call you? You shall suffer like things. Are we not suffering like things? He was hanged on a tree. We hang on a tree. That don't happen to anybody else. And any other people who claim to be Israel, they don't even say that any of that has ever happened to them. The things concerning this book, the things that are written in this book, they don't even say any of it has happened. And we still don't want to hear that, but that is also because of that blindness. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 3. And start that at verse 1.
For, behold, the Adonai, Yahweh of hosts, does take away from Jerusalem and from Yehudah the stay and the staff, and the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water, the mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet, and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be their princes, and babies shall rule over them. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother, when a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, You has clothing, be you our ruler, and let this ruin be under your hand.
That's a sad shit. You know you're pretty bad off when you pick your ruler by, you got clothes. What? Boy, we pretty bad off, ain't we? Go ahead.
In that day shall I swear, saying, I will not be an healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people, for Jerusalem is ruined, and Yehudah is falling, because their language and their doings are against Yahweh, to provoke the eyes of his glory.
Now, we won't think that our tongue is against Yahweh because it's not direct. But when we promote things that he hates, it is most definitely against Yahweh. Go ahead.
The show of their countenance does witness against them, and they declare their sins as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say you to the righteous, that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
Right. Even the woman ain't even got to be standing there and still ruling over us. Why? Because the program is still running. As for my people, children are their oppressors. We'll get up and scorch the earth for our children. And them same kids won't give two fat farts about you and none of the stuff you done. You done did all that, and you say, here you go, Junior. I done scorched the whole earth to give you this. They didn't have no blue ones. Damn! What's that's the reward I get? Right. Go ahead.
O my people, they which lead you cause you to err, and destroy the ways of your paths.
Those that lead you are causing you to err. Now, wait a minute. We're choosing who we're going to let lead us. We are choosing that. See, we choose that, I'm going to follow this individual. See, the one thing about when people say, this person has put out, a negative image, yeah, I get that. But here's the thing. Idols are not appointed. People pick idols by what was closely like what they want it to be like. See? So a person could say that they wanted to be a comedian, and they could say that Bill Cosby was the person that they idolized. Or they could say that Eddie Murphy was the person that they idolized. Now, those comics both operate in different ways. So the one that individual is going to choose is the one that's more like the path that they want to take. So when it comes down to choosing who rules over us, we choose that. Respect the persons even help us do that. Now, I'll listen to him, but I ain't going to listen to him. I'll let these people rule over me, but I won't let these people rule over me. Go ahead.
Verse 13, Yahweh stands up to plead and stands to judge the people. Yahweh will enter into judgment with the ancient of his people and the princes thereof. For you have eaten up the vineyard. The spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean you that you beat my people to pieces and grind the faces of the poor, says the Yahweh Elohim of hosts. Moreover, Yahweh said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet.
Now hold on. These same are women that are the same one that's ruling over the men. This is why they walking and mincing as they go. Because they are directing a whole generation, and you got to think about how everything has been turned upside down. I saw a post where the guy was saying it was dealing with the differences in culture, where if a man not known to a woman is walking with her man, and the man comes up and starts talking to the woman, how is the woman supposed to react? And it was different as different women gave their take on it, you know? And when you get people of a different culture, when a man start coming up and talking to the women of other cultures just sit there and look at her man to say, who are you talking to? But see, how we have been raised here, the woman will automatically start talking, even though her man just got disrespected by having this individual come directly to her. But then again, we were raised like that, because the insurance man would come to those old lady houses. He never dealt with the man. All he dealt with was the woman. She was the one going and paying the premium. She was the one that was dealing with all of that. He bypassed the man. And here it is. We are the products of that, and we think that it's normal that a unknown individual would bypass the man and start talking to the woman. And the way the woman checked that is just sit there and look at that man and don't answer him, and then look at her husband. You gonna deal with the dude? But see, we don't even know that until we start seeing how other cultures operate. Then we realize that we've been robbed of ours. Because other people already know how that works. Let's go to Luke chapter 19. Start at verse 11.
And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable, because he was near to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of Elohim should immediately appear.
Right, and he didn't tell them that it was going to immediately appear, but he also didn't kill their spirits and tell them, oh, it's going to be 2,000 plus years from now. Oh, man, they would have stopped walking. They would have stopped walking. See, Yahweh know when to let you hear something and when not to let you hear something. Because you can hear something and then, boy, you on the top of the house cutting off stuff. I mean, you going helter-skelter. But he know when you don't need to hear that. So he will put his fingers in your ears and a conversation to be happening right in front of you, and you won't hear that conversation. Why? He don't want you to hear it. So he could have easily told her. Now remember, this is the same entity who said, drink my blood, eat my flesh, and you shall never die. Wait a minute now, these are some strange sayings. But he ain't also saying, look here, you gonna be, oh man, it's gonna be 2,500 years, man. Y'all gonna be, they gonna put their foot on your neck, boy. Y'all gonna, hey. He wasn't giving them all that kind of information. So he understands the power of, you don't need to know that right now. This will negatively affect your walk. Go ahead.
He said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent a message after him.
Now, here is that respect the persons in full power here. The citizens hated him. See, so I'll, receive direction from one individual, but I ain't gonna receive it from this individual over here. Now we have a schism in the body because we were already told, be good unto all men, especially those of the household of faith. He said, but I ain't gonna be under this man. Go ahead.
We will not have this man to reign over us.
We will not have this man to reign over us. Understand something? That's the same thing that Yahweh said about the children of Israel when we requested a king. He said, it ain't you that they have a problem with. It's me. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading.
Mm-hmm.
Then came the first, saying, At nay, your pound had gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, Well, you good servant, because you have been faithful in very little, have you authority over 10 cities.
Now understand this pound could be anything. All right? Don't look at this like this is money or this is time. No, this could be anything. This could be a job. This could be a car. This could be a house. This could be a husband. This could be a wife. He said, wait, man. I gave you this woman. This woman got skills. All right, this woman gifted. All right, show me what you got. Well, we just watched TV. Oh, you ain't? So you ain't do no work? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And the second came, saying, At nay, your pound had gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, Be you also over 5 cities.
Now, your increase is directly connected to the authority that you receive. See, sometimes we're ready to have authority over something. Well, wait a minute. Where's your increase in the little thing that he has given you? Where is that? Go ahead.
And another came, saying, At nay, behold, here is your pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin.
All right, now, are we going to be the individual who just come? Now, how believe this little nasty napkin?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you white with that little nasty napkin that you held my money in? Okay, go ahead.
For I feared you, because you are an austere man.
Mm-hmm.
You take up that you laid not down, and reapest that you did not sow.
Right, I was scared. Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Out of your own mouth will I judge you, you wicked servant. You knew that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then give not you my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required my own with interest.
Right, you didn't even handle this in a situation that it might be profitable unto me when I return. You dug a hole and put my substance in a hole? How can my substance be profitable to me or to you in that hole that you put it in? Go ahead.
And he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound, and give it to him that has 10 pounds.
Wait a minute. This seems unfair. Go ahead.
And he said unto him, at nay, he has 10 pounds.
And they said unto him, wait a minute, now he already got 10. You gonna take the one and give that to him? Go ahead.
For I say unto you, that unto every one which has shall be given, and from him that has not, even that he has shall be taken away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But those mine enemies.
Now this is where the whole kit and caboodle lies right here. Now we'll focus on the part, everyone which has shall be given, and from him that has not, even that he has shall be taken away from him. But here is the power right here. Go ahead.
But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them.
And that's what the whole thing is about. See? They would not to have the correct ones reign over them. See? They choose who they want to be over them. And they don't want these certain individuals. So now we have a problem. Go ahead.
Bring here and slay them before me.
Right. This is what we don't want to end up in. But those mine enemies, which should not, that I should reign over them. Understand something. When he says that I should reign over them, Yahshua ain't coming here in the flesh. That means he has a setup that he's putting on the earth. What did he say to Saul? Saul, why did you persecute me? Man, Saul, I ain't never even seen you. I ain't need nobody need that. What are you talking about? I ain't never persecuted you. No. You persecuted me. You know when you persecuted them? You was persecuting me. And we don't even look at it like that. So then he says, they would not that I should reign over them. Where's he getting this I? Oh, the individuals that he put in that place. So we'll still think and still show respect to persons and still think that we're walking in the right path with Yahweh. No. They would not that I should reign over them. Now we go back to the very same thing that was said by Yahweh to Samuel. It's not you that they have a problem with. It's that I should not reign over them. So the same problem that Yahweh had is the same problem that Yahshua had, which is the same problem that we're going to have. A servant is not greater than his master. That's all that we got time for tonight. The other things we'll have to get into later. Let's leave out with prayer. We're going to rise and face the east. Abba Father, Most High Covenant Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Abba Father, we thank you for giving us yet another opportunity to read out of the legacy that you have left unto us. We pray, Abba Father, that you would continually magnify our understanding. We pray that you would magnify our thirst for this word. And we pray, Abba Father, that you would open up our hearts that we may be able to receive, not just hear with our ears, but hear with our hearts, that we may be able to be directed and redirected. For let us have a renewed mind in the spirit, Abba Father, that you can direct us in the way that we should go. We understand that we have spirit, but Abba Father, we are covered in this flesh, and we know that the spirit is willing, but that flesh constantly fights us. We pray, Abba Father, that you would give us power over this flesh, that we may be able to do the things that the spirit intends and leads us to do. We pray, Abba Father, that you would keep a hedge of protection round about our natural homes and even our spiritual home, that we may be able to come back into the shepherd's tent and do the works that are pleasing unto you that we may be able to reach the lost and the found sheep. We ask these prayers in Yeshua HaMashiach's holy and divine name, to whom rule, power, honor, majesty, and might was given forever and ever. Amen and hallelujah.